close that. Okay, so we are back doing another pack review. You guys are stuck with me. I'm Carl, I go by Yogo Dunzo on the Discord. I've got Jeremy, who goes by Huntsucker. Uh,
Hello.
we are skipping ahead since new cards have been fully released. We're gonna put a pause on the Dominion cycle and jump straight into the Temptation cycle. Um, and once we finish these up, we'll finish out that one just for the sake of completeness. Okay, what clan do you want to start with in case we.
Ooh.
So, we don't have to end on the sad trombone noises of Unicorn.
I mean, even this pack, it's not the worst news. But I don't know. Let's why don't we start with Scorpion for you?
Okay, so down to Scorpion. Um, we've got the first one is Kunchu or Kunshu. That is the Kotai prize the Kotai series prize from 2 years ago, I think.
Yep.
It is a 2 fate +2/+2 unique weapon. It's got the Imperial trait and a weapon trait. It can only attach to a unique character. It's ancestral and restricted, and it has the ability of attached character gains action during a conflict in which this character is participating. Discard the Imperial favor. Choose an attachment or event in your opponent's conflict discard pile. Play that card without paying its cost. Um, I think when this card was first spoiled, it was kind of a holy shit, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think even in the Scorpion chat, uh, we were happy we were the ones that got it because we were the ones that were less likely to use it.
Sure.
And the Scorpion mentality was not about uh, playing with new toys, it was about stopping other clans from getting new toys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like this card. Unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to see a lot of play because we have the new Kachiko, which kind of came out of nowhere,
Yep.
who does basically the same thing for just existing.
I mean, it's kind of cool to see the discard the Imperial favor come back. Like that's kind of neat. We had a whole cycle of those.
Yeah, but that
Um,
was such a terrible fucking cycle.
I know it's just kind of like a nice callback. Like, oh yeah, I remember
It's like
that.
this
You
was a thing.
discarded
This, yeah.
Imperial favor.
I mean, you look at that cycle, and you've got Ujiaki, who I think is clearly the winner
Mm-hmm.
um, of that ability, and then you have shit like Crab's Fair Accord,
Yep.
where they can discard it during the during the dynasty phase to gain 2 fate. That was all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Um, I guess the big takeaway: this doesn't have any influence, so it's gonna sit in the binder for just about everyone.
Yeah, I think if this had ended up almost in any other clan, I think it probably would have maybe seen more play than it will in Scorpion.
Oh god,
Got
yeah,
the Imperial keyword. There's that, I guess.
yeah. I guess Ishikawa can continue to live his best dream in the binder.
I mean, you have a province in this pack
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Um, except it doesn't work with the sword.
Just saying it has the Imperial keyword.
It
It
does
talks
have the
about
Imperial
Imperial
keyword.
stuff.
There's there's some cards that matter with that. But yeah, it was a neat story prize. And then they had to go and change the prize structure for Kote's just so Scorpion wouldn't get all of them
A good
because
change, it turns out.
that's how it was going. And I still don't know how they're going to do the points for this season.
Oh man, who knows how the season
But
even
I think
even goes.
I think Scorpion is still getting a card out of like the 3 or 4 Kote's we had hosted or
Hmm.
that went on. Anyways, yeah, it's a neat card. I don't think it's ever going to see any significant play. Sinister Peacekeeper, on the other hand,
Yeah.
is kind of a bullshit card.
Yep.
It is a 1 fate, 0 military, 2 political, 2 glory, courtier imperial with the keeper role only. and it just has a real simple reaction. After an opponent gains one or more honor, they lose one honor. Uh, my initial evaluation of this card was incredibly wrong.
What
This,
was it?
I thought it was just kind of meh, kind of okay. Because in my mind at the time, I was like, well, all that really does is keep your opponent neutral on honor. What I egregiously failed to consider is the fact that you can have multiples of these in play.
Yeah.
Um, and it works on any honor exchange.
Hmm?
So if I've got two of these in play, I can bid 5 and Bayushi Manipulator it up to 6. So
Oh, and then if your opponent bids 5, then they actually lose.
then they would gain the 1 honor from the bid, but because I have 2, they would actually lose 1 honor.
If this card was just unique, if it was a unique character, it would be fine.
So
But the
actually,
fact
oh, go on.
but the fact that it's non-unique is, yeah, that's the fact that you can have multiples of this is kind of the issue.
Yeah, it's also got a useful trait. It's
Yep.
got 2 glory, so hey, guess what? It doesn't have to do anything to steal favor. Like it literally just has to sit on the table, and it's getting you benefit after benefit after benefit.
Yep.
Um, Personally, I think they should have made this a seeker role card.
Yeah.
That would have broken it up from backhanded compliment, and um, maybe encouraged some role variety in Scorpion.
Yeah.
Um, but this is a super good card for Scorpion. It's a one drop courtier. Ever since Liar got banned, we've kind of been hurting for one of those. Um,
It's I mean, I'm just thinking of all the different permutations of what multiples of this do, and it's just gross.
it's terrible. Like, this could even find a place in a Scorpion dueling deck.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, because, you know, I might have to build that. You bully duel, you bid 2, and oh my god, I won the duel, and you lost honor because of it.
It's just even like for me as a unicorn, the only thing I can do is yurt or an air ring. So if I yurt, I give you 2 honor and I get nothing.
Yep.
And then if I do the air ring, like, all right,
Yeah, no,
cool.
it's ridiculous. I was super far off on my initial evaluation. I thought this was just like, it's an okay card. No, it definitely fits into Scorpion Dishonor.
I can
So
see I can see this being the tipping point for backhanded or something. Some combination of this is probably going on the RL at some point.
uh I don't think it's that strong.
I'm just thinking of everything that goes along with it, right? Like
Yeah, but like
backhanded, this,
the
city.
problem with that is, and it's something that I actually had a discussion about on the the last stream I just did. Any Scorpion card that gets restricted is actually banned
Yeah,
because they're not going to be better than Forced Edict, and they're not going to be better than City of the Open Hand. So, restricting this and another card, like backhanded, to break it up, is basically banning those 2 cards.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. If it would have been Seeker, I think
Yeah,
it would have been. But just the
because
fact that it's like in that package is.
even with just one of these in play, it stops your opponent from gaining honor,
Mhm.
which is about as important as making them lose honor. Um, because, on some really wacky terms, your opponent can climb out of range of backhanded compliments to lose. Um, this just keeps them where they are.
So let me ask this. Let's say your opponent has a dishonored status token, or they have an honored status token on their character, and they're about to leave play, and so is this. There's an order in which stuff leaves play, right? So it may
Yes.
not always trigger.
So that's going to come down to a couple things. The first one is who is first player, because their characters are the ones that leave first. So if you have an honored character and I have a peacekeeper and you're first player, your honored character leaves play first, and then you gain the honor, and then I make you lose the honor, and then after all your characters are gone, my characters then leave play.
Okay.
Um, there's also some extra weirdness that I don't think necessarily interacts, um, but all the characters, the trigger for them leaving play is simultaneous.
Hmm.
So all the characters like kind of flag themselves for leaving play at the same time, but you resolve them in whatever order you want.
Ah, okay.
Um, so if there's a card that's Scorpion that splashes that like when it leaves play, you and an opponent gain one honor. I know there's a couple of those cards. I don't know if they're splashable or not. Um, you know, I can sequence it. So if I'm first player, that card leaves play, so you gain an honor, and then both my peacekeepers fire to make you lose an honor each, and then they die.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, no, this card is. I would expect to see it in just about every deck. And
Yeah.
if you play Scorpion, you kind of have to buy this pack for this card because it does everything you want it to do. It's a low cost body. It's got two glories, so it steals favor. Um, of all the stupid fucking things, if you get it honored, it's a 2/4 for one fate.
Yeah, it's just not the fact that it can take favor, but even if you find a way to honor it, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just wild, man.
Yeah. That is offset by the next card. It is the Scorpion Clan Coup. It is a 5 strength Imperial Air Province. And it says while you control an Imperial character, each character attacking one of your provinces gets -1 military and -1 political. Um, here's a good test for this, since I know you don't play Scorpion a whole lot. Is a blanket -1/-1 better or worse than looking at the top 5 cards of your deck and drawing one of them?
You would draw the top 5 cards of your deck.
Right. So we can move on because this is competing with Secret Cash.
I mean, it fills out. There are plenty of people who like doing janky Imperial stuff, and this helps that, but it's not,
I mean, yeah,
viable.
if you're gonna build the Imperial deck, you throw this card in there. But at the same time, if you're building the Imperial deck, you should manage your expectations for its performance, unless you are playing in a a high jank environment.
I will say this about the art is I want that character on the left to be a unique. That guy looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the kind of unfortunate thing. I think Tyler went on record as saying that this character, like the characters talking to Shoju, are just kind of not random art assets, but they were created specifically for this art. So there's lore wise, they don't have names, they don't exist. They're just a random samurai and a random courtier.
Ew.
That being said, they could very easily turn into things, but I could be mistaken about that. I remember reading that comment, but I could be wrong.
I mean, the dude basically looks like Lu Bu from Dynasty Warriors. He's
Oh
got like a
god,
giant. He's got a giant
Lubu.
spear.
Yep.
I think that's probably a spear in his hand. Like, yeah, come on.
He's just missing the giant peacock feathers coming out of his head.
Yeah.
I guess since we're down here, let's take a look at the unicorn cards.
Okay.
We have Daughter of War. It's a 2 fate attachment, +2 military, +2 political. It's a follower. It is void roll only and attaches to a character you control. when the attached character leaves play, search your Dynasty deck for a character with lower printed cost than the attached character and put it into play and shuffle. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Um, when this card we first saw the full text of this card, I was pretty excited for it.
Okay.
But the more I thought about it, the more I don't see it being a viable card. Um,
So, this isn't gas for HMT?
it's like so even in this pack, like you have to put it on either a 4 or a 5 drop to really get any value out of it, or probably to go look for Tetsuko or something similar, or a 5 to go to grab a nice 4 drop. But it's like you're paying 2 fate for a katana's worth of military. You have to go void roll to use it, and it is extremely easy to telegraph. Like anybody with attachment hate just needs to make sure they literally don't need to worry about this card probably until either an HMT trigger is about to go off or the fate phase, and then they just remove it. And I've wasted 2 fate.
So, I would disagree with you on needing to put it on a 4 drop to get value. Um, because in an HMT deck, whatever, say you get like a Gunso and you get a Yasumura off the Gunso, whatever. If you throw this on a Gunso and use that to trigger HMT, pulling a Border Rider gives you the bodies for the next 2 conflicts you were going to do.
Well, you could pull a 1 drop, but not a 2 drop.
Oh crap! It's lower.
Yeah, it's lower.
Oh
So
fuck me. Okay.
a 5 gets a
Jesus
4, a 4
Christ.
gets a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was equal to or lower.
Oh man, if I could go get another, if I could throw this on a 5 drop and go get another 5 drop, like that would be pretty sweet. But like like your use cases, you know, even in this pack, it's like I throw this on Combalak Benefactor
Uh huh.
and then go get a Tetsuko. I've now spent 6 fate because I have to let the Benefactor die. I have to let this attachment leave.
Hey, 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 hey. The Benefactor makes Daughter of War free.
It makes it 1.
Is it just one? God damn
It's
it, I
just
thought it was
1,
2.
Carl.
Apparently, I can't read cards. So
I love your unicorn optimism. It's so refreshing.
that is
But no, it's
like the past 5 minutes have literally been the embodiment of hope is the first step towards disappointment. It's
yeah.
like
Even if you're right. If I could have thrown this on a 2 drop and go get another 2 drop, cool. Like yeah, that's probably worth it.
I
Yeah,
totally missed that it was only lower.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's significantly less good. Because what 3 drops are you going to sack to HMT?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Noyon,
So like,
Tetsuko, you would want to ready, and yeah, I don't know what 3 drop you would really want
so
to even get rid of.
no, it doesn't even fucking work with Moto Youth because you've already done a
Nope.
military conflict.
Yep.
Is
Like
it
it's the classic unicorn hoops, man. It's like just enough to where you're like, nah.
like? Don't get me wrong. Part of me is very happy they've learned a lesson of equal to or lower is kind of retarded on cards like the Butcher.
Sure.
Um, I don't think it would have been a problem on this card
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just enough to where it's like,
because then like you're paying 2 fate for +2 military, and if it was equal to or lower, you could turn that 2 drop that you've paid for, and this you can turn 4 fate into 2 fate,
right.
which isn't awful because
Mhm.
you've gotten the utility out of the body, you've gotten the force pump off of this. Oh man, I just feel sad now.
Yeah, yeah. Like you're not gonna throw it on anything with fate on it because, like I said, you're just giving them multiple turns to find an attachment hate card that gets rid of it before
I
the
mean,
trigger goes off. So you have
yeah,
to. I mean, if you're going to play it, you play it on something that you
that's
know is
dying.
leaving play.
Yeah, I think I think it needed to give +3 military,
Yeah,
and then you could reasonably throw it on something with fate because you're getting more. Because if you throw it on something with fate, just play a fucking fine katana.
yeah. Why not? And even then, I think even if it got rid of void roll only, it might be a little bit more viable, and more deck types and stuff like that. But as it is, it's like,
I mean,
you know,
the void roll does kind of fit it in nicely with the scouted
scouted
terrain.
terrain. Yeah.
Um, and there was a card that was just spoiled in pack 2 that actually might make that more feasible.
Mm-hmm.
The conflict character that Scorpion got.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but still, yeah, no, that I guess it helps if I read the cards. I thought it was equal to or lower. This card is much worse.
Yep.
Okay, on to Kambaluk Benefactor. This is one of Unicorn's Dire
Mm-hmm.
characters. It's a 4 cost, 2/4, 2 glory, courtier merchant. It dire keyword, so while this character is participating in a conflict, reduce the cost to play each card in your hand by 1 to a minimum of 0. And for those of you that don't know, dire is a keyword that turns on when a character has no fate on it, and it seems like each dire ability is different from character to character. And this has the reaction of after this character enters play, draw 2 cards.
Yeah. So really, this is only missing the cavalry keyword to really
Yeah,
be super super good. And we can easily do that. Um, they did right with this card by saying after this character enters play.
instead of being
Um,
played.
yeah, this is not like a Gunso situation. This is,
Yeah,
we can go search for it. We can, there are different ways where you go find it, like breaking in, stuff like that. To where when it enters play, you just draw 2 cards. Um, you know, Unicorn was pretty excited for this card, Unicorn Chat. Initial testing was like, oh man, this is fun. This is pretty good. And then they started hitting Scorpion opponents, and they're like, oh, this card got stoked, and it did not
oh
feel great
Jesus Christ.
to let my opponent draw 2 cards and make everything that they play
Make all their
in the
expensive events
conflict go
cheaper.
down by
Oh my
1.
god. Yeah, I definitely think this card, its biggest detriment is not having the cavalry keyword,
Yep.
because this is like absolutely a card you want to cheat into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like the tempo swing you get if you could like join the fray or
Oh
canvas
yeah, if I could
this.
join the fray, this thing, it would be amazing.
Because it refills your hand and then it makes everything else cheaper. Um,
I mean, the only way to cheat this thing into play during a conflict is Wind's Path that I can think of. Where,
uh,
like in the middle of the conflict.
so sort of, if you want to venture like into the Janklands,
Where we both live, yes.
I was born there.
You were born there.
Um, there was a card that was. Is it in this pack? No, I guess it's in the next one. Shishi Nikie, I think, or Shoshi Nikie. I probably butchered that pronunciation terribly. The one that lets you break a province to straighten a ready character.
Hmm.
Um, you could break your own appealing to the fortunes
True.
to straighten a character and bring this into play, and then draw 2 cards and turn on Dire.
I think one of the things that I'm excited about in terms, like we've seen, oh, that undead steed that's Maho. Like any 1 cost Maho, this gets a little bit more viable of making it free
Yeah,
without having to pull fate off your guys.
and
There's good stuff there for sure.
that is also an important consideration. Any card that reduces cost makes Maho inherently better
Yep.
because If you have one dire convolute benefactor, then the Tetsubo of Blood, the Shadow Steed, all of those become free. And those cards are definitely they are strong because of how you have to pay for them. So if you can negate those cards, or if you can negate the cost, they get even better.
Well, even the unicorn card that was previewed in Bonds of Blood or whatever, where it's the move in, kick out.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
that also becomes free,
yeah,
so that becomes a lot better as well.
yeah. So maybe she's a secret blood speaker.
Yeah, yeah. I
uh,
think she has good potential. I mean, honestly, Stoke is the big problem. Like it
I
feels
mean that's a problem
super
for
bad.
that's a problem for everyone. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a universal problem, but in terms of stuff you could steal, I think that's probably top tier.
yeah, I would absolutely stoke this just because like hey, I got two cards, and
Yeah,
my
it's
other
got decent political. It's yeah,
like it
why not?
that could make my next stoke cost even less.
Yep.
Okay, let's I guess go alphabetical now
Okay.
over to Crab. Crab gets their clan sword, Chikara. It is 2 fate for +4 military, +1 political. It's got the standard clan sword text, so it attaches to a unique crab character. Its ancestral is restricted, and if it's on a champion, it has after this character wins a conflict, choose a participating character. That character's controller moves all fate from it to their fate pool, then sacrifices it. So
Pretty
this
cool.
is a combination of um, Jade Tetsubo and like Hon Nodachi,
Yeah.
right? Because it pulls all the fate off and then kills the person. Um, I I think this is text wise probably the best clan sword we've seen.
Hmm.
Um, it's just unfortunate that Crab only has the one champion.
Yeah. I mean, you've only got one guy to throw it on, so maybe that changes someday. But for now, I don't
Yeah,
know how often this thing's actually going to see play.
and I mean this can absolutely help you get rid of some problem characters. I know Netsu causes a whole bunch of problems for Crab,
Hmm.
and so if they put Netsu in front of Kasada, you can play this card and just steamroll forward. Um, Interestingly enough, you can choose any participating character.
That's true.
So if you are, for some reason, needing an extra sack outlet, you can nuke your own character. Um, ooh, wait, hang on. Is that stupid Gent combo? You could splash Daughter of War in a crab deck
Okay.
and kill your own guy to get another guy.
Yeah, that's true.
That doesn't
I
feel
mean,
great, but it's interesting.
sure. I mean, maybe you faded up a dude and you super need fate right then, right there.
I mean, there's that too, right? It does let you manipulate um, fate, whether
Hmm.
on bodies or um, in your pool, which can be a pretty spicy ability. Um, but I think the biggest hindrance for this is that Crab only has the one champion.
Yeah, yeah, it's limiting.
Yeah. Uh, Next card is a new version of Yasuki Oguri. It is 2 fate, 1/1/1, courtier and coverts, and during a conflict in which this character is defending, spend 1 fate, choose a character with one or more fate on it, move that character to the conflict. Um, so I think Oguri in both versions is often maligned
Hmm.
uh, because of the covert keyword. And I think when people look at the covert keyword, they want to see it on a big body
Yeah,
to make use of it. Um, but I think Oguri, the way Oguri best leverages covert, especially in this version, is as a way to prevent covert being coverted.
Yeah, it is weird because his ability goes off when defending,
Right.
but
So
covert is inherently an aggressive thing. So
so
yeah,
I think the lines of play for this character make a lot more sense, or would be more apparent, I guess, if it had um, Mitsu 2's key text where he can't be evaded by covert,
yeah.
because then it makes sense. You can block with him against someone with covert, and then pull in the person that was initially coverted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with the old Oguri, is that, the covert's there so that he can stand in front of anyone and then trigger his ability. That being
And
said, he's a cheap covert body, so that has its own offensive uses too.
yeah, and honestly, it has a harpoon ability on it, which is not nothing. I mean,
Yeah, you can harpoon an opponent. You can harpoon one of your characters. Um, so if someone favorable grounds out because they don't want to deal with upholding or some duels or whatever, you can pull them back in,
yeah,
or uh, you can make them overcommit to an attack, or you can use his covert plus his ability to effectively negate uh, covert on someone else. I like the card. It feels kind of flexible. He's also a cheap, unique body for weight of duty, and that's not nothing. But I think this will definitely see some play. Next card is Guardians of Rokugan. I know this card has caused quite a bit of discussion.
mm-hmm.
Zero cost event, 2 influence. Reaction after you win a conflict. As the defending player, search the top X cards of your Dynasty deck for a character with printed cost X or lower and put it into play, where X is the amount of skill by which you won. So there's some interesting procedural things about this. The first thing to note is it does not say shuffle,
Right.
which means if someone plays this against you and they shuffle those cards, call a judge.
Yeah.
Because I think the floor rules for that is they get issued a warning for it because there's no way to restore the game back to where it was.
Right.
Um, the edge case to that is if you ever look at your entire deck, then you have to shuffle,
Hmm.
and that's a separate rules entry. If you ever
Interesting.
if you ever look at cards from your deck that equals your entire deck, you then have to shuffle. Um, Beyond those weird edge cases, I kind of dig this card. I think this absolutely plays into Crab's win by defending, because I can easily see, Kisada defending, uh, playing the Mountain Does Not Fall. Then you get a bunch of other bodies in there too,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get um, the best body in the top 6 or 7 cards of your deck to
Yep.
come into play. Um, I don't think we've seen any dire crab characters yet, but if there's any there with any kind of meaningful ability, that's going to increase the value of this card.
Check real quick. Looking at. No. I was looking at pack two to see if there was. I thought there was a dire
Okay.
crap, but I don't think there is. Yeah, this card's really great. I mean, zero cost to play it. It's pretty splashable at 2 influence. Um, there are plenty of other clans that would also defend and win and be able to search. Um, yeah, the fact that you don't shuffle, I mean, is basically deck knowledge at that point, right?
Yep.
If you can remember, depending how deep you go.
I mean, realistically, you only have to specifically remember 2 or 3.
Yeah.
because I think realistically that's the most you can expect to have to pitch from your dynasty row. Because whatever you pitch gets replaced by the top cards you want. So
Right.
no, I dig this card. I think it's very very thematic for Crab. Um, the artwork's kind of cool. Giant boar monster thing.
Giant boar from what's that anime?
I mean,
I can't.
there's a bunch of.
Miyazaki anime.
I was gonna say there's a bunch of them that probably have giant boars. Uh,
That's what it made me think of.
hang on, I made the mistake of clicking on the stupid card art, so now I have to wait for my internet to decide to bring everything back up. Okay, the next card is another Caillou wall piece. This is the Watchtower of Sun's Shadow. I believe this is the one that showed up in Oguri's fiction.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is the one they went to. Limit one. It's +1 province strength. Limit one per deck. Each character attacking a province you control with a Caillou wall holding gets -1/-1 for each fate on that character. And when this breaks, you lose 2 fate. I have no real opinions about this card.
Um, before we saw stuff like Seasons of War and stuff like that, like the wall deck was fringe, but it was viable. And then once we started seeing stuff like that, it just goes away.
Yeah,
So I don't think it'd see play.
Clearly this is supposed to encourage Dire, I guess, for everyone. But at the same time, you just don't go there.
Yeah, you just don't go there. You see where it is.
I guess it's for each Caillou wall holding, but like you don't go there. I don't, and it even has a downside for when it breaks.
Unless you don't have fate, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, then the downside is you don't have fate.
That's a weird one. It's kind of weird that they're continuing the Caillou Wall stuff.
I mean, it's kind of nice. I do like to see themes get more cards added to them because otherwise you end up with half-ass supported themes that never get anywhere, like Dragon.
Sure. Just needs to be more playable.
Yeah. Onto the crane cards. We have Diplomatic Gift Giver. It is a 4-drop. 3 military, 4 political, 1 glory courtier. And action, during a conflict in which this character is participating, each player chooses a character controlled by one of their opponents. Each player moves 1 fate from their fate pool to the character they choose. I don't think this will ever see play.
Don't either. I mean, it's not. This character has to be participating, but the ability doesn't have to be on participating characters. So there's that, but your opponent is still choosing.
Yes.
We should say, for this cycle, the idea is temptations, and each clan is tempted by something else.
Yes, the half-assed justification for the name of the cycle is each clan is tempted by something or another. Crane's is courtesy, so lots of symmetrical effects. I genuinely loathe these half-assed justifications. Especially the lion one, because lion's temptation is being more honorable.
Right? Yeah, they're tempted above honor, above all else,
and that is just so goddamn irritating because it's an excuse to give them more honor-related cards that don't represent any kind of temptation because they're just gonna fucking run them.
Yep.
If there's for there to be a temptation, there needs to be a downside to running it. Otherwise, it's just a smart choice.
Right. I am looking forward to see the justifications for each clan. So far, those are the only two that we've officially heard. Like in the pack insert,
yes.
For pack 1, it has these are 2 clans and this is what their temptation is. I'm really curious to see what unicorns is because I have no idea what it could possibly be with the cards that we've seen.
I think
Um,
in some article a while ago they like gave the one word temptation for each clan,
ooh, I'll have to look for that then.
but I don't remember. But yeah, so this card is a symmetrical effect. Um, I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I guess it can be a way to shut off dire. Um, Other alternative uses, using it when your opponent has no fate.
yeah, there's that.
Although
Could it then fire if you can't do the game state?
I actually don't think it can.
Hmm. I think it's funny
Maybe.
that this guy has
I don't know.
3 military. I'll say that.
I mean, at least he only has one glory.
Sure.
Um, so, he's only a 4/5. Okay, yeah, but no, this card is not. Oh, for Crab, I think Crab would want to buy this pack for Guardians.
Oh yeah, yeah, for that at minimum for sure.
Yeah. The next card for Crane is Exemplary Etiquette. It is a one fate event. One influence. Action during a conflict. Abilities on characters cannot be triggered at this conflict. Um, I can see this being like a one of. Because there are some clans that have a lot of abilities on characters. Looking at Lion, for instance.
Sure.
And then there's others that don't.
Yeah, like this would do almost nothing to Unicorn. We
Right.
really don't have many abilities on our
Yeah.
dudes.
Yeah.
One influence though. I mean,
Yeah, it's splashable. It is a thing you can use to like. I don't think this is ever like an auto include, but I can see this taking up a flex slot in a deck,
mhm.
especially if uh, we see a bunch of really strong dire effects.
Well, yeah, if it says dire action, then yeah.
Yeah. Um, Otherwise, this is kind of binderish, I think.
Mhm.
So, on to Superior Authority. It is a 3 fate event, costs 2 influence. Action during a conflict. Characters without fate do not count their skill towards the resolution of this conflict. This is the Silver Tongue Magistrate ability.
Mhm.
I think every clan is getting their Magistrate in a different form. Uh, I think this one's too expensive.
Yeah, it should have been 2.
Yeah.
It should have cost 2.
It definitely looks like so far Crane is the clan to hate Dire the most. Since there's 2 cards in here that shut it off. And possibly Exemplary Etiquette can shut off dire actions. I don't know if we've seen any, but I assume there's some coming. Um, Maybe, probably not.
Yeah, I mean this is a nightmare for my
I was,
Unicorn
I was gonna
Storm
say
deck.
this hoses Unicorn like nothing else.
But yeah, at 3, if you want to spend 3, 3 fate for it, yeah.
Yeah, not a card I see. Like, if you're a Crane player for Crane cards, you can probably pass this pack. Unless Dire becomes the new meta, and then Superior Authority and Diplomatic Gift Giver become crucial. But
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. Uh, On to Dragon. Let's see if they actually get things that are playable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the first is a 3 fate attachment, +0 military, +3 political, self-understanding. It's a condition and it has 3 influence. It's restricted. This line of text is very important. This attachment cannot be chosen as the target of an opponent's event. So it protects itself from a lot of attachment hate. And it says the attached character gains after this character wins a reaction after this character wins a conflict. Resolve the effect of each ring in your claim ring pool. I like this card. The sequencing feels a little iffy.
Yeah.
Um, the effect can be really potent. I would expect to see it out of Phoenix more than Dragon
Hmm.
because Secluded Shrine
Yeah.
gives them a ring right away. Uh, they can also do stupid tricks with rings and claimed and unclaimed pools, so they can swap rings, they can keep rings, they can do all this stuff. Because the more times you can trigger this ability meaningfully, the better it is.
Hmm.
Um, but the Paul boost is nice too. Like
Yeah.
that's a significant chunk.
I think Dragon has enough stuff. They're starting to get more and more attachments being cheaper effects that this probably is not going to cost three
This is
all of the
true.
time.
It is
Um,
also restricted, so it does work with Iron Mountain
yep.
Castle.
But we saw a spoiler in Pack Two for an attachment that is going to make this really iffy.
This is true.
Even
Uh,
though it has the protection from let go, you know, neutral attachment hate that everybody is going to run, makes this a
Probably.
very iffy proposition.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I can definitely see this in Phoenix. It is three influence though, so I don't know
Yeah,
that there's anything there. This is definitely an interesting card, and it can have a large impact on the game if it fires consistently. But at the
I think
same time,
if you get a minimum of two ring effects, it's probably paid for itself. Three plus, you're
yeah.
really doing well.
And of course, I want to immediately throw this in a deck with greater understanding
Yeah.
that attaches to a ring to resolve it, and just resolve as many ring effects as you can.
Of course.
Uh, Next card is Keen Warrior. It is two fate, two military, one political Bushi with one glory. It has Sincerity, so it draws a card when it leaves play. And it's got the reaction after you look at one or more cards in an opponent's hand, or those cards are revealed. Draw two cards, then place one from your hand on the bottom of your conflict deck.
Hmm.
Um, so on the surface, this sounds like a Shrewd Yasuki you have to jump through extra hoops for. Um, but the ability is a little bit stronger
Yeah,
because
the key part is or those cards are revealed, right?
no,
So,
actually, the key part is the card you put on the bottom of your deck doesn't have to be one of those two.
oh, you're right.
See,
Good
I
point.
can read some cards,
Just not if they're purple.
not if they're purple. Um, so this means like if you have an absolutely dead card in your hand, you can make that go away and replace it with hopefully not dead cards and still draw a card.
Hmm.
Um, the the problem is getting a meaningful trigger off of this because you have to play cards that make you look at your opponent's hand,
Right.
or yeah, that look or reveal cards. So you have to play stuff like Upholding Authority, which you probably would anyway. Um, some of the new Kitsukis. Interestingly enough, you can do some fun stuff with Scorpion.
Hmm.
Meek Informant lets you look at a
Yeah.
hand on demand.
Me conformant was the first thing. Yeah.
So this might be like the seed that grows into a full-fledged Dragon Splashing Scorpion deck.
Yeah. I mean, it's got decent stats. Have we ever? This is kind of going to derail it a little bit. Have we ever seen a sincere Bushi before?
Um,
I can only think of like courtiers
I don't think
or
so.
scholars.
And that's actually one of the biggest complaints about this card when it was first revealed
Hmm.
is the fact that it's a Bushi and not a courtier, because all of the cards that revolve around, I say all the cards, a large chunk of the cards that revolve around looking at hands or doing things to the opponent's hands are courtier based.
Hmm.
Um, so unless you split the focus of the deck, this keyword does nothing for you.
Yeah.
Um, which is a valid complaint. Um, it does have the standard 2 cost of land stats, which isn't great. But sincerity is okay, and I think if you can get the ability to fire without having to dilute the efficiency of your deck, this is a good card.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, like it. I think it could be like a key foundational piece for a dragon deck that doesn't exist yet. The the hard part is finding the other pieces to make it work.
Right.
Next card is Overlooked Community. It is a +2 province strength holding. It's a village. Return a ring from your claimed ring pool to the unclaimed pool. Choose a status token on a character and discard it. So, based off of what we've seen in Pack 2, it looks like Dragon's getting a theme of quote unquote ordinary characters.
Yep.
So that's characters that are neither honored nor dishonored. Uh, I don't know if bouncing a ring is worth the ability to make a character ordinary. Because what my mind immediately goes to is discarding tokens off of your opponent's characters, right?
Yeah, that would be my first thought as well.
And so you're only ever going to want to, in most cases, discard a honored status token. But that means you have to have claimed a ring over a character that's honored.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, it's this card is like almost there, right? Like the holding strength is okay. The ability, yeah.
I think the cost is too much for the effect. And I could be wrong based on other cards that come out. Maybe pitching status tokens from your own characters are worth it. Um, but I think the returning a ring is too big a cost for this.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Like I think the Obsidian Talisman out of Crab does it better than this. So Dragon, I think, came out potentially okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a lot better. I mean, even from the previews that we've seen for the cycle, I think they're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get much worse than last cycle. So
I mean, you say that. Don't tempt fate.
That's true.
There's already enough temptations in this deck. Ooh, tempted by
Ooh.
honor. Ooh. Speaking of, here's a lion card. Renowned
Here we
Singer.
go.
Yeah. It is a 1 fate 0/1 2 glory conflict character. Renowned Singer, courtier and storyteller, water roll only. And it has the action, if you have gained 2 or more honor this phase, choose an opponent and 2 cards in your conflict discard pile. That opponent chooses one of those cards, add the chosen card to your hand, and place the other on the bottom of your conflict deck. So, yeah. Lion gets to continue recurring cards, which is actually kind of important for them because with shit like Exposed Courtyard, they can burn through their conflict deck pretty quick.
Yeah, and I mean that's not a hard thing for them to pull off. Gaining 2 honor to
yeah, gaining 2 honor is easy. Now, I was streaming a game this morning for the Jigoku Invitational, and I saw the most amazing thing happen. A Scorpion deck was playing this card.
Go on.
Because Scorpion has a 1-drop character, Beautiful Entertainer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 0/1 Geisha. That if you're less honorable than your opponent, when she dies, you gain 2 honor.
Oh.
Which immediately turned this card on.
Huh.
And I was like, that's just fucking amazing. Um, it also ties into doing shit with Away with Words to steal honor.
Yeah,
So I'm absolutely going to try making a Scorpion deck that splashes line for this card.
interesting. I
Uh,
think part of the cycle is every clan is getting a good one drop, right? From what we've seen so far, even for next pack, we've seen like a good one drop for Dragon. We've seen a good one drop for Scorpion. We've seen a good one drop for Lion at this point. It seems like
the one drop for okay, yes, the Sinister Peacekeeper is Scorpion's one good drop. Like
yeah,
in pack two, they have another one drop conflict character that's okay, but I think that card is not for Scorpion. I think it's for other clans.
hmm,
Um, but yeah, no, this is like a solid card. It's got two glory, so if you like the ability to steal favor with Ancient Master, but you just don't want to be green,
yeah,
the Renowned Singer's got you covered.
yeah. Wow,
The water roll is a bit of a lock on it. Water doesn't tend to offer a lot of clans much.
that's a good restriction for what this thing does.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
yeah.
think this is actually the right element for
I
this
mean,
card.
it could have been basically any element besides air,
Yeah,
because the line honor deck is air, right, for echoes and soul beyond reproaches.
yep.
So keeping this out of that pool, I think, is super important. I think this is a great card. I think if you can accommodate the role and the honor gain, it will do a lot for you.
Mhm.
The next one is Revere Tacoma. It is a two fate, one military, two political, two glory courtier. This character cannot receive dishonored status tokens. So once it gets honored, it's going to stay honored, which realistically makes him a 3/4.
Yeah,
And it has the action if you've gained two or more honor this phase, gain one fate. Uh, maybe. I don't know that Honor Lion makes room for this. I think if you want to build a Switch deck, then this can find a home.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, my line envy is growing more and more as I see more cards in the cycle. It
Yeah.
kind of continues. Like seeing a card like that, and they're not even probably going to play it. Like, okay,
So here's something that'll make you feel really bad. If you compare it to Convolute Benefactor,
hmm,
okay, so this card will not draw you cards, right?
right,
Because the text is just different. However, this card costs half as much, will permanently have bigger stats
hmm,
because it can't get dishonored tokens. So once it's honored, it stays honored. So
yep,
it's a 3/4 for two, uh, and it gains you a fate, which is kind of like making cards one cheaper for one card.
kinda, yeah. And
Um,
it's got the two glory, which helps you get
yep.
favor. So yeah,
No, I think this is more for Switch decks and not for decks that focus exclusively on honor or conquest.
yeah, I would agree.
Is my take, just because it doesn't directly help you honor out,
Hmm.
uh, but conquest focused decks have a somewhat harder time honoring their characters than the honor deck does.
Yeah,
Is my hot take. So this is for
I
any.
don't I don't want to see any more lions that have the text of they cannot receive dishonor. One is fine, but
Man,
like you start getting multiples, it's gonna start being a problem.
fuck you! I'm a Scorpion player. That
Yeah, like
irritates
what
the
are you
shit
supposed
out
to
of me.
do?
I mean, the upside is it dies to for shame because
Yeah,
they can't choose to dishonor it.
yeah, there's some duels and stuff that would
But
make them
I mean,
have to
I guess
choose.
yeah, it dies to duel to the death, except for the fact that it's a 3/4.
Yeah,
Um, it's uh, it's definitely a thing, um, but I think this is primarily more for a Switch style deck. The next card kind of enables the other two cards. Procedural Interference. It's a zero cost Dynasty event for Lion.
Yeah, Dynasty events are back.
Yep. Well, I think that was less a mechanic and more just a new card type. So I can see
Mm.
them continuing that support for quite some time.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Action: choose an opponent's province. That opponent selects one. Either discard each card in that province, or you gain 2 honor. So this helps I say a whole bunch. It definitely helps against the current Diplomat deck from Crane,
Mm-hmm.
because that relies on having a bunch of holdings in play forever. Um, it also lets you target problematic cards that you just don't want to deal with.
Yep.
Because if they let you gain 2 honor with a Revered Akoma or a Renowned Singer already in play, you can recur cards or gain money.
So just to make sure I understand the rulings, it's retroactive, right? So if I do this and gain 2 honor and then play, the Revered Tacoma, then the ability still goes off because that still
Correct.
happened. He
Correct.
doesn't have to be in play. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
The Renowned Singer does because it's a conflict character,
Hmm.
and you can't drop her during the Dynasty phase.
Yeah.
Um, but I am because I've seen it twice. I'm inclined to think there's going to be more cards that have the if you've gained 2 honor this phase do a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
The temptation of honor is too great.
so here's the thing: like procedural interference, this has a downside to running it, right? It doesn't have
What is it?
it doesn't have rally, so it costs you a body.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you run 3 of these in your deck because you're like, hey, I want to gain honor, there could be game states where this flips up and it's not the body you need to not die.
Yeah.
And that actually makes it kind of a temptation because you have to weigh pros and cons.
The problem with that is that you run enough rally cards that this just flips up on rally and
I mean,
bonus.
there's that, but that's fine because you know, the rally card's not flipping up something else. This is still costing you a body.
Yeah.
So, and it's not difficult to picture game states where you need more bodies than you do honor.
Sure.
So, this kind of a temptation by honor, I get, because there is a possible downside to running this card.
That's fair.
These two, the Renowned Singer and the Revered Akoma, are just fuck you, here's a minor gate with a cool ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's no temptation to run those. It's the smart choice.
Yeah.
Um, so because of that, I actually don't expect procedural interference to see a whole lot of play. Um, I don't think it does enough.
I could see it as a one-off.
Although I guess it does, like, you know, it becomes a non-choice once you're at like 22 or 23 honor.
Right. Your opponent has to let you discard whatever's in their
Yeah.
provinces.
So maybe is a 2 of. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not 3, but 1 or
Yeah.
2 I could see.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that card's a maybe. Yeah. If you play Lion, you probably want to buy this pack.
Oh yeah.
I think the Renowned Singer is a very potent ability. And the Revered Coma can just generate value turn after turn because
Yeah.
there's no restriction on what phase you have to play the action in. So even if 2 honored characters die, you can trigger his ability. You don't have to necessarily expend a lot of resources to get that to trigger. We
Yeah.
have next card is a neutral card. It is Make Your Case. It is a 0 cost seeker roll only event. During a conflict, initiate a political duel against a character your opponent controls of their choice. Resolve the duel. Place one fate on the duel's winner. Um,
Why is this Seeker?
uh, Probably because it would be. If this was okay, so this is Seeker. I think to break it up from Defend Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So if you are, it it gives you a valid choice for choosing Seeker if you're making a dueling deck. Because before, if you were going to make a dueling deck, you were probably going to take a keeper role for Defend Your Honor.
Yeah.
Because that's a cancel that you can leverage to other effects. This gives you a reason to at least look at Seeker. Because this is adding a fate is really good. Um, it turns off Dire. It saves a character with Dire for next turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Um, it,
Like
I mean,
you've already fired off the dire ability, say,
yeah, and
and then you're like, cool, now I'll win and fade it, and
yeah.
then still have it.
For clans that have good political numbers and the ability to cheat in characters, I can see this being useful.
Hmm.
Uh, if charge was still a thing, this would be really good.
If only.
Um, I don't think. Uh, do you have any Cav characters with good political numbers?
Not especially. I mean, maybe Shono with Pride activated, but
I mean,
yeah,
maybe. Um, but yeah, if you have ways to cheat characters in, I think this is really good. And it also opens up dueling to secret decks as well,
yeah.
because now there's a reasonable choice to make. Um, but it's a dueling card, so people will be salty about being bully dueled with it.
I mean, your opponent gets to choose what is getting dueled, so there is that. It's
Yes,
not.
but it still has to be a participating character.
No.
So if
During
I
a conflict, initiate a political duel against the character your opponent controls of their choice. You have to be in the conflict, but it doesn't have to be a participating character to your
the
opponent.
the rules for initiating a duel
Oh,
are specifically in that conflict unless
in
stated
that conflict.
otherwise.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you get to pick, but if I'm walking at you with an honored Kachiko,
Sure.
is that going to matter? Or an honored Yoshi or
Sure.
any of the characters that are big political numbers.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a good card. I think this is like a if you want to play a dueling clan, um, this definitely gives you more options in deck building.
Mm-hmm.
Next card is the Neutral Province. Uh, Brush Fires, it's 4 province strength fire element. After this province is revealed, choose an attacking character, remove 2 fate from that character.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it as well.
I mean, my mind immediately goes to Unicorn flipping up provinces whenever we feel like it
Yeah,
with some cards,
yep.
where they don't even necessarily have to be there, but I can make them lose power.
Do you have ways to do that on the attack? So you can flip up
Yeah,
your provinces while you're attacking?
I believe so.
Because this can turn on Dire for your own characters.
Yeah, Keeper of Secret Names with a revealed Border Fortress would do the trick. You could reveal anything you feel like.
Okay, that'd do it. Like, crap, what was that other fire province? Feast or Famine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is I guess the better evaluation is how does this compare to Meditations?
Right.
Because Meditations is very, very farmable once they know where it is. Because they just attack there with no fake characters and it's blank.
Yep.
and this only fires once, so it becomes blank after its first reveal. Um, I don't know how it compares. It's definitely swingier, right? It has a bigger
Mhm.
impact to meditation, but it could also miss.
Right. Yeah, it's got potential, but I don't know. I don't think it'll.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe. I don't know how to evaluate this card because its triggering is largely out of your control, as is the targeting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not going to run it over cons or do. So I don't know if I would necessarily run this, but
Yeah, if you have a way to make this reliably good, I think the effect is really strong.
yeah,
Pulling two fate is huge, but I don't know. This is a strong maybe.
it's a decent. I mean, it's a decent swing if this is like the quality of um, neutral provinces we get the cycle. Like, I think it's a good swing. It's a
Yeah,
good
that is
indication.
true.
It's
Um,
not. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility versus what we've seen.
I'd like to also think that these cards are the replacement for the elemental cycle, elemental provinces.
Yeah,
Um, but this absolutely has nothing to do with abandoning honor. Was the fire one? Yeah.
yeah,
This is the same fucked up thing as this is a void effect on a fire province, just like meditations.
yeah.
That doesn't feel right, but whatever.
We're on cycle 5, right? This is the start of cycle
Yes,
5.
yes.
Okay.
This would have been like this pack coming out would have killed cycles 1 and 2.
Wow. It's wild to think about that was the original plan.
Isn't it? I did a fairly long discussion with Yama about what the meta would look like uh, if rotation happened, and it was kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, on to the Phoenix cards. We have Asako Meizawa. He gets a new version. He is 3 fate, 2 military, 3 political, um, 2 glory courtier. Has a reaction after his character wins a conflict. Choose a character with no fate on it. Bow that character. If that character is a Phoenix character, also dishonor it. Um, I super dig the the kicker ability, I guess.
Got the flavor.
Yeah, like the because he is like one of the investigators, I think.
Yeah, he hunts Maho users.
Yeah, so it's like,
He's had a
hey,
couple short stories, yeah.
yeah, so it's like, hey, when he finds someone who's in the Phoenix clan, it's extra punishing. So I really dig that flavor. Um, the ability itself uh, requires some work to actually make useful.
Yeah, I mean it's completely telegraphed
It,
for your opponent in terms of seeing it coming.
yes, but there is a but.
Here's the J. Uh-huh.
We've seen a lot of fate manipulation stuff on this, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So his ability doesn't require winning on attack or defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wins on defense, he can still bow someone out if you have a way to manipulate fate. And Phoenix have a card from the long ago times, Karmic Twist, that lets
Oh,
you.
I thought you were just gonna say consumed.
No, 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 no. Consume's like a legit card, which kind of matters, but then at the same time, like if you land it consumed, you should be landing it to win anyway. So him bowing a character shouldn't matter too much.
Right.
Um, but no, Karmic Twist, the one that lets you move fate.
Yeah, I think that is Karmic Twist. I'll look it up real quick.
So you can use that to. So you attack with him, and your opponent's like, "Ha, I'm a big brain you. I'm gonna block with all my guys with no fate." So his ability is worthless, and then you can move all the fate over.
Yeah, non-unique with one or more fate. Move each fate from that character to another non-unique character with no fate on it, controlled by the same player.
Yeah. I do think that all this fate manipulation and Maho stuff might legitimately make Embrace the Void a valid choice
Yeah, I can see that.
as an RL card.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think, like, yeah, his ability is super telegraphed, but you have some surprises you can do to maybe make it risky.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good card. Um, I think his ability is less dead than expected. Like even with just like even without running Twist of Fate, Mono no Ware, uh, Void Rings don't work because the sequencing is wrong. But there are ways to pull Fate off of characters. So
Yeah.
maybe. Uh, Speaking of, we have a Phoenix Duel that is Void Roll only, Heresy, 2 Influence, 0 Fate. Uh, Action during a conflict, initiate a political duel between a character your opponent controls of your choice and a character you control of your opponent's choice. Resolve that duel, remove 1 fate from the duel's loser.
Hmm.
So I pick your character, you pick my character, and then it's basically the opposite of make your case.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's a good card because, again, the duel participants have to be uh, participating in a conflict.
Yep.
So it is still very easy to bully duel. If I attack with just one character, you don't have a choice. Um, but it's also an instance of you can use it to turn on a dire ability. And then if you want to be really stupid afterwards, after you've used the ability, you can use make your case to put fate back on him. Uh,
I just like how the story of that would go.
yeah. I
Heresy.
make your
And now let me
case.
make my case on why I am not a heretic. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you for providing me this opportunity to defend myself. No, I like this card. It's I think seeing more duels and more clans opens up the prospect of having a dueling deck for a variety of clans.
Mm-hmm.
2 influence isn't super pricey, so it's definitely splashable.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, it's there to. It's another fate manipulation card.
Yeah. Seems decent.
Yeah,
Right roll for it too, I think.
yeah. It's nice when card effects line up with ring effects, and then that lines up with the restriction, unlike brush fires. But
Yeah.
that's a separate thing. Overall, this is a pretty solid pack. I think everyone gets at least one card that's playable.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely think Unicorn or maybe Crab came out the iffiest on this pack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, while the effect on Guardians of Rokugan is good, I don't know if it is meaningful, if that makes sense.
I mean, we're starting to get to the tipping point where cards, where you're defending, Crab is defending and getting good abilities and actions for it. Like,
Yeah,
imagine their, oh, what's her name? The Oishi.
yeah,
You win, you get another military conflict, you find a new person to bring into that military
yeah,
conflict for free. Like it's just started to become a cascade where there's just enough.
yeah,
When you win as defender, all of this stuff trips off.
yeah. And especially since they have a plethora of stands, it it's nice to see winning by defending becoming a legitimate thing
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it
for
really
sure.
wasn't before. It was just some ambiguous. Crab wins by defending, and what that means is you defend really well, so you don't lose. Um,
And then all your guys are bowed
yeah,
unless you have a mountain does not fall. Then
yeah. So it, I do appreciate that theme being fleshed out more. Um, but yeah, that is pack one of the temptation cycle.
I'm already more optimistic about this cycle than I was um, the last
The
one.
last cycle. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be, right?
Yeah, not seeing rally effects on
I mean,
broken
there's
cards.
that too, right? Like, I don't have this inherent hatred for rally cards.
Right.
Like, let me just rephrase. I don't have the same hatred for Dire, but I do for rally.
Right. Yeah, I'm already more optimistic in
Yeah,
terms of what the cycle will give us.
which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for us. Thank you for watching and joining, and we will see you on the next one.
See you later.
Bye.